our Thursday bonfire, and we spelled out C-State. We just wanted to keep it simple. We had to have state in it, and all the seniors wanted something that was like meant a lot to them as Campo football players, and it was just that block C that's on the side of our helmets.
Just because of the guys that we had talking to us, like Teague, I remember listening to him in 2014. He's like one of the best speakers I've ever gotten to listen to. I remember him like going into the circle, and I was so intent on listening to every word he had to say, just because he's always got a really important message, and you know what he had to say just really changed my whole perspective. And one quote that he said was just how he ended his speech was just leave no doubt about your legacy, and that really stuck with me. And
leave no doubt about your legacy, man. This is the grandest stage possible for our football program. You can't make it farther. You can't get to a higher pinnacle. This is it.
What has happened and like why I've been so motivated to get back to where we were, and it was for the La Mirada game because of just how like the game went down and how not really what we wanted to happen in the game. So now that we got a second chance, the seniors and anybody that was a part of the team last year really wanted to, you know, right what happened last year.
Go.
Yeah.
But after that Palma victory, by the time we got on the bus to head down to Bakersfield, we were a completely different team, completely transformed, peaking with a level of confidence that really showed in the disparity in that score.
I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
So it kind of started with the bus ride down, and we were getting on the bus. It's kind of a tradition, like where you sit on the bus, and I always sit like by myself, a row behind Sproul and Seppi.
So the whole week leading up to the state game, Coach Macy was stressing logistics and how we weren't going to lose to logistics. And when we were on the bus going down to the state game, and the parents were all lining up the street, cheering us on, rooting us on, it really got us all hyped up, and you know the bus really became part of our game plan.
When we were getting on the bus at the state game, all the parents quickly got out of the parking lot. And then once we were driving down the hill, all the parents had lined up and were cheering as the bus came down.
That is awesome.
Or the first half of the bus ride down, it was a lot like last year. I just had a lot of jitters, nervous. I didn't know what was going to happen in the game. And then about halfway down, I like just stopped to think like where I am. It's like who we beat. Like we beat Palma. We've gotten to a state championship. It's like I should just enjoy this a little bit. And so I kind of relaxed.
So on the bus ride down to the Bakersfield Christian game, Coach Macy was walking down the aisles, you know, showing people his phone, going real slow aisle by aisle. And as he got closer to me and Liv, I noticed the headline read, hottest ticket in town, and it was the Bakersfield Christian newspaper. You could feel the electricity throughout the bus, and it really got us all pumped up.
After we left the hotel, we rolled up to Bakersfield Christian, and their bleachers were packed. Not one empty seat. It was sold out already, and it was 2 hours before game time. I think that was the first time all year my stomach flipped, and I had butterflies. I was extremely nervous. I just never seen an atmosphere like that. That was the first time all year where I was really like, this is serious.
I remember I had crazy nerves before the game, like all throughout warm-ups. It was a crazy environment. Music was really loud. We were on an awesome field. There were a ton of people there. Obviously, super high-stakes game.
And we get on the field, and then we listened to their pregame pump-up list, and their stereo system was just bumping, and it was insane.
The crowd was huge, especially Bakersfield Christian. They had a lot of people there. And I know, like, talking to my parents and everything, they had trouble finding seats because their crowd was just, like, crowding in on us.
Walking in the stadium, we like formed two lines, and we walked from our locker room, and you could just hear like the music, like the bass bumping, and like I don't know, it just kind of pumped me up. And like walking into the stadium, it felt really cool just knowing the stadium was packed, music was like blasting. The music they were playing was like Christian rap, so yeah, that was cool.
So it was definitely an atmosphere that gave the vibe of a state championship game. You know, you walk on the field, it's loud, you can't really hear a lot. It felt special.
practice, Coach Macy had been, telling us about the other team, Bakersfield Christian's slogan for the year was finish, and how they were gonna finish this season off and get the state championship. And
we'd heard that they were such an impressive passing offense, and our secondary really took the week seriously. Came into the game with some confidence. And then we found out that they weren't even going to go to their passing game. They lined up in the T formation, and I anticipated a run to our side. So I had that image in my mind of me coming up and hitting the guy. As soon as he broke to the edge, I was all fired up. I came up, I met him. I was pretty violent because I was all jittery and I really wanted to just hit the guy. So, I hit him. I felt that he had the ball in front of him, so I just, I tried to grab for it. I ended up yanking it out, forced the fumble.
Called a timeout, went to the sideline. Sco asked if Seven was playing corner, and I said he was, and he's a bigger guy, and me being a smaller receiver, the hope was that I could get past him. If I ran a 2, I could get inside him quick enough. Once I got inside the outside backer who would come out, Jacob was able to find me, and I made the catch.
We managed to find the weakness in their kick return team, which was on the left side, they had 2 slow people, one behind the other, and they did not communicate whatsoever. I pooched it right between the 2. The guy in front waved a fair catch, but didn't end up touching it, and the guy in back dove for it, but just knocked the ball forwards.
And I'm the first guy there, but I was going too fast and blew right past it, and then I turn around, see the ball off to the side, and everyone's in a pile, and I see Michael jump on him like, oh, the ball's live.
And it hit the ground, and I slowed up a little bit because I couldn't see the ball. And then all of a sudden it just appeared literally right in front of me, and I just jumped on it, and everyone went crazy.
I think the snap went over the quarterback's head, and he went to go get it, and I was all fired up to go clean his clock, and he picks up the ball, and I don't break down. I outrun him, I overrun him, and he kind of makes a move inside, and he throws this long bomb to the receiver and scores a touchdown. And at that moment, I'm sitting on the ground, I look up and I see that the receiver's scored. I thought I lost the game. Then after that, the highest point in the game would probably be, my 2 highest points would probably be the 2 sacks that I made, one by myself and one with Drew, and nothing felt better than after Drew grabbed his legs and I went over top of him, knocked him to the ground, and at that point we were up, and I looked up to him and I put my hand down to shake his hand, and he just said oh, give me a minute.
I told him, I was like, Coach, we're gonna get a pick. Torcho is gonna come up big and get a pick. I kept telling him, I was like, Torcho, you're gonna get one.
Uh, 2014, Adam Remoto, to start off that long kind of comeback that they had, they ran this play called the throwback screen. And Coach Macy kind of always talked about how Coach Schofield was too scared to run the throwback screen, and Coach Macy had to call it, and then Adam took it for a touchdown. And all week practice, Coach Macy was in Bokobo's head telling him that he wasn't Remoto and that we weren't going to be able to run the play. It's the first play of the 4th quarter. We're like, all right, we're going to run the throwback screen. I was really antsy to run it to prove that we could be in one of those other teams that ran this play successfully in a state championship game.
We hadn't run this play yet, the throwback screen. It Been practice all year. And then we finally threw it in the fourth quarter, first play, and it was executed pretty well. And it was a big gain and pretty much the backbreaker of that game.
I think one of my favorite moments of the entire season was Maddie running for that last touchdown and seeing everyone go absolutely wild, and that's when it really started to sink in that we were going to be state champs.
The end that was on top of me, like head up, I didn't have to touch him because we was a run right. So I went straight to the outside backer, and he was outside of me, and I just turned him and ran him all the way to the sideline, and Maddie only had one guy to beat after that. Like, the best block of my life to like have Maddie score the finishing touchdown of the game. So after we won the state game, all their student section had these shirts on and said finish on them. And after they lost, a lot of the students took them off and just left them in the bleachers because they were very upset.
Just kind of adding to the history of the game.
And I remember that feeling of walking into the hotel and just seeing like all your friends and family and parents in the hotel like applauding you and recognizing the fact that you just won a state championship, which is pretty crazy. So I'm really grateful that we got to experience that again this year.
Like walking into the hotel this year, like was so surreal that this was like my senior year and like my team, we did this and we deserve, I mean, this championship. And it was really surreal and really, really humbling because like, I mean, that kind of a win like twice in your life is like something special.
It really hadn't hit me that we just won a state championship, which has only been accomplished by one other team in Campo history, which is really cool. And the other thing about it that was really cool is no one really expected us to make it that far. No one expected us to win playoffs or anything.
Just feeling like I was part of like I was in the club, you know, the state championship club, and I'm sure all the seniors are proud to say that they're one of the two teams in Campo football history to win a state championship.
Knowing the balance of having fun and competitiveness, and that we found having fun so important to us, and that kind of translated into that state game where we were able to have fun but stay mature and composed at the same time, and it just kept everything light. You know, we never had let anything get too big for us.
Let's go!
We get the scoreboard in the back here, too.
Get in there. We'll get